here we go. Let's hope that it starts. One last test and then I'll begin. One last test and then I'll begin. Alright, you can hear me good. Alright, can you see the stream now? With the gameplay and chat log? And welcome to the stream, Heavy Elite. Good. I'll first be covering levels on the stream queue over here. I'll be first covering QueenMonika's really long Metroidvania level, which is over 147 levels long. And for anyone else coming in, greetings everyone. My name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Man Maker. This is the continuation of the earlier stream I had in the morning. So pretty well. I decided to preload this level as it took over 2 minutes to load up. Now let's just hope it doesn't crash in the middle. One of the main reasons why it's so big is because it's a Metroidvania level, one of QueenMonika's first Metroidvania levels. The name of this level is 7 Keys to Unlock Stone Man Mountdeen. At least this level isn't laggy. Some of the longer levels in Mega Man Maker are surprisingly laggy for some reason. I don't mind Metroidvania levels, but the main issue, well maybe not the issue I have, I just like to be warned in advance if they're long. That would make scheduling them a lot easier. And I have some tricks just in case I get lost. Plant Man already, that was fast. Duly noted, Lipatio. First key out of 7. As well as the plant barrier, so let's get out of here. Just as a demonstration, this is how fast resetting is. So this stage doesn't have as many long obstacles. Or it's not as feature dense, I mean. Can't reach that area just yet, but I think that's the way back. Hi Jedok, glad to see you in the stream. I guess I jump off from here, so I have to climb upwards. I probably want to go up there first. And Heavy Lead does have a point. Currently the stage design is on the simpler side, which wouldn't be too much of a problem, but everything feels a bit spread out. It could do with some compression. When I say compression, I mean moving the obstacles and challenges closer to each other. Two down, 5 left to go. Oh, trust me, I was guilty of having more flat level design in the past. You'll see that when I do my Let's Play of Mega Man 1 Remixed, which I will start doing tomorrow morning. So I did need to go up there. I wouldn't say that just yet. Heavy Lead, did you ever play Mega Man 1? Just curious. That way you'll be able to know the context of what I'm saying. My stage back then was Napalm Forest and Caves, and one of the issues there was it was exceedingly long and it was too unfocused. So you're in the know, good. See, I understand how the stage is using its Metroidvania design, but I feel it could be done quite better. Can I even reach up? Yeah, I can reach up there. I just need to chain it together. So that's how we get the power adapter and move on to this section. And I noted down your level, Gravity Beetle. It'll be covered after Lipatios. Nice for introducing how it's supposed to be used. The same actually applied with the Thunderclaw. See, this section could do with more enemies. It doesn't need to be so spread out. Like place some Kamusa Burrows or Shotmen, or decrease the size of it. And thank you, Uno. True, but you need to make sure that the tasks flow into each other and the challenges are cohesive. Like, don't start entirely new challenges for segmented towards each other. In that case, you should break up your level into mini stages. Each of the challenges should flow into each other to make it for a final, interesting level. I could try damage boosting my way back up there, but I won't risk it. I'll do it the correct way. True, good point. I'm usually terrible with aesthetics, but you have a keen eye for that. It gets a bit more difficult when you're working with new tile sets and you have to combine it with older ones. See, I like this room. It was actually the best room with this pathway, but I feel the rest of the pathway could be condensed. But I'm gonna be kind of sounding like a broken record, so that's gonna be my main complaint of the stage so far. It's too big. And a bit bland in terms of tile sets. Could you do some more mixing? Three down, 4 left to go. Nowhere else to go over there, so time to jump back down. These platforms are here and just in case we get stuck. Damage boosting my way forwards. One second. The window lost focus. Ever since the version 1.5 update, the game has gotten a bit more picky with its inputs. Before, my controller would still be picked up even if the Mega Man Maker window didn't have focus, but now it doesn't. Now let's go up over here and see what's here. Spikes and fans. And Sparkman platforms. Only a few bosses in Mega Man Maker are tough by themselves. It's usually arenas which make it much tougher. For instance, Concrete Man and Ring Man are tough by themselves, but most of the bosses are very straightforward. Three left to go. For a Metroidvania level, this is pretty straightforward so far. Only minimal amount of backtracking required. Hi Shaun Williams. Glad to see you in the stream. What are your three categories then? Runner, jumper, and... What's the difference between mover and runner? Hi QueenMonika, I'm currently playing your stage. I'll go up there after this door. I see. In that case, I'd also add another category bosses, shooters, whose main gimmicks are all the projectiles they fire. It doesn't really apply as much to the Mega Man games, the classic Mega Man games, but it does apply to the fan games. Like, this boss would definitely be more of a mover. Not a mover, a charger, sorry. Or run, whatever, sorry, runner. Sorry, I'm getting the categories mixed up. He does a lot of jumping and moving around. See, he focuses more on melee damage than range damage. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Some bosses focus more... See, for some bosses the challenges are their direct attacks, some of them are projectiles, and sometimes the main obstacles are the arenas themselves. It's kind of a broad way of doing it, but... essentially, if you want to boil it down even further, the reason why some bosses are tougher is because of their movement patterns, and for other bosses it's because of their weapon patterns. And others, it's the environment itself. That's how I prefer to categorize it a little bit more, but... because there aren't that many shooter bosses in the Mega Man Classic games, they only really exist in the Mega Man fan games themselves. There was something on the top left, I should check that first. Oops. I should have swapped out at that. Oh, top left is the end of the stage? Grenade Man is somewhere between someone who moves, jumps, and shoots around the place. The main danger in that boss battle isn't really the environment itself, it's him. I would also talk to my boss in Magmal Tree, but it'll be kind of a spoiler, so I won't do it. Because that kind of plays into the categories you mentioned. Alright, I'll use my Magmal 2 entries as an example. Napalm Man would be somewhere between a jumper and a shooter. Whereas Crusher Joe would be much more of a mover and shooter versus a jumper shooter. Indeed. Ringman is more predictable, but he deals more damage, and depending on which arena you're in, he can be much more of a hazard. So to summarize all what I'm saying before I become a broken record, what makes the bosses challenging are their movement patterns, their attack patterns, and the environment. Hence movers, shooters, and, well, I don't know what the category of the environment is, but you get the idea. Speaking of which, here's Grenade Man. Yeah, he just two-shots you. I don't think he was as tough in the original Mega Man 4. There's only one last thing left to do, and that is to jump down here and explore the right area. Not this area. The one to the left of here. Because I do recall the bottom corridor. Oh, he did? Yeah, I don't quite remember all the specifics of the boss patterns in Mega Man 4. It's been a long time. True, I'd rather have an optional Proto Man in that case. Yeah, I know there would be one more here because I didn't check this area out. I should have checked it earlier. Oh, the GB version. I never really played Rockman World 3 or 4, so I don't know how accurate it is to that game. Eventually I will livestream all the Game Boy titles. Yep. He was tougher in Mega Man Base, I'd say. This is telling us that we must use the concrete blocks here in order to survive. Otherwise, we will not be able to complete the stage normally, and I'm dead. At least this stage gives you frequent weapon and life pickups. That's a pro this stage has. Uh-oh. Phew, at least it stays frozen. Don't remind me, I died so many times going through, what is it? A Tengu Man stage in Mega Man and Base. Those balloons, especially as Mega Man. As Base isn't too bad, but Mega Man, oh, it was a nightmare. This was a neat challenge. It did use the space properly, though it could be a bit tougher. Base had it way easier in general in Mega Man and Base, outside of probably the boss battles. For most stages, Base had an easier time, and for most bosses, Mega Man had an easier time. At least that's how I felt for Mega Man and Base. And don't get me started on the GBA version. If the Mega Man Maker team ever adds Tengu Man into the game, they really need to decide on which version of the boss they want to add. Well, they kinda already decided that with Astro Man, so I guess they'll have separate versions then. I want to see some Fortress bosses the same. At least we have the ability to have multiple... At least now we have the ability to add multiple bosses in a stage officially, but the next step would actually be having Fortress bosses. Because right now, all the bosses have a roughly the same profile. But when you have Fortress bosses, the profiles of the bosses can be changed. When I say profile, I mean physical profile. Maybe in 1.7. Which 3 Fortress bosses do you want in the engine as soon as possible? Or first, I mean. I know there are some classic ones like Mecha Dragon, but what about some of the other ones? Yep, the upgraded Thunderwolf. Yeah, that'd be a nice one. And Metal Daddy, or the Metal Dispenser, that mini boss, that'd be fun. He was? Oh, you mean the... I forget the name of that boss, but I know what you mean. The boss of Wily Fortress 3 in Mega Man 7. The one based off the Kotobuki masks. Yeah, that's the one I was referring to. So this stage is done. I finished a lot faster than what I initially expected. I thought this would take over 30 minutes. Frankly, I believe the reason why they added the block dropper in the first place was for an advertisement for the fan game in the first place. And it's done. This stage is over. Now, here are my overall suggestions. For at least half of these sections dedicated to the use of each special weapon, please compress them. There was too much dead air and emptiness, or empty space, that could have been easily fixed by just compressing the challenges. And for at least a quarter of the challenges, they needed to also have more enemies. They were too easy. And vary up the aesthetics so they blend in with each other better. And to be quite honest, outside of a few screens, this didn't really feel like a Metroidvania level. It felt more like a little bit more non-linear exploration stage. But hey, it was your first Metroidvania level, so I guess it makes sense a bit. Before I move on to this stage, let me add the 2 new levels. Let me see, Lipatio... Oh wait, Gravity Beetle came... Okay. And I'm also thankful that this stage wasn't too difficult. Some of the Metroidvania levels could be quite brutal. But in general, I suggest for future Metroidvania levels, start simple, start smaller, try making a Metroidvania level within 20 or 22 screens, and work your way up from there. That way it forces you to actually compress your level designs and really focus on the essence of a Metroidvania. Your level's been added, Lipatio. It'll be covered after Shaun Williams. Next up is Splash 1 by Cage2347 with 18 plays and a score of 1. This was submitted by GalaxyMan64, but I doubt it's their level. They submitted someone else's level. Nope, I'm covering various levels. It was on my to-play list. Earlier, so I decided to cover it here. I couldn't cover it during in the morning stream, so I'm doing it right here. Just like what Heavy Lead said, start simple, start smaller, and work your way upwards. I made the same mistake for Magma 1, combined with some real-life issues. I want to see Blade Man as well. Rats, Base doesn't have access to double jumping. This is a Mega Man 10 incarnation. I'll play as Mega Man here. I'd rather have access to the charge shot. Plus, I don't have access to Treble Boost either. I'll check it out. You know your stuff. So I recommend viewers to actually check out Heavy Lee's channels. And for some better level designers, I'd also suggest checking out Nicolas's and Darkness's level designs. Nicolas is one of my favorite level designers in Mega Man Maker currently, and they do a wonderful job creating traditional and fortress stages. And why I'm really worried of doing these sections, especially in this engine, one tap can be converted to a long jump. Oh yeah, for fortress levels you don't need to worry about introducing you don't need to assume that players don't understand the challenges or are inexperienced with the challenges. You still need difficulty escalation, but you don't need to assume players don't know it. This time I'll take the right route there. There was no reason to go down to the left. The right route was the easier one, and had better rewards. Probably should have added an extra reward to the left, so there's a reason to take it. The reason for that is a reference to the short story Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? That's one of the references, and why that stage is cyberspace themed. Compared with the other Splash Woman level I played in the morning stream, this feels like a somewhat passable remix. We're missing the Splash Woman platforms though. And we start up with a whole arsenal of special weapons. A crazy number in fact. He is fun, but I just wish his special weapon in Mega Man 10 was better. Magma 1 and this game so far are fixing the problems with his weapon. True, it's trying to mimic or remix the original Splash Woman stage theme, and it's sort of working, I guess. And it does feel somewhat faithful. Even in the original, this section or screen was scary. Yeah, it stays very true to its nature while replacing the assets that are missing. Not only that, it has its own new spins, like the keys, and these optional areas. I was going to have to reset anyways, so... Double Bubble Man for a harder version of this boss battle. That's different. His bubbles are kind of camouflaged or hard to see with the cloud in the background though. Especially when he fires his bubble spray. How do you even dodge this? And it's over. Neat way to end off this level. So definitely, the ending part of the stage I feel was, especially the boss, pretty decent. I'll give it a tentative thumbs up for now. Alright, I'll be right back in a moment. And I'm back. Third up is Choose Water or Sky stage by Croby, with 28 plays and a score of 8. Hello Team Money. Yeah, for what it's trying to be, I'd say it was a almost good to good attempt. I doubt they're gonna add stuff from Mega Man V for now. It's gonna take quite a while. I think after they finish Mega Man 11 and perhaps Mega Man Base, they'll loop back to Mega Man 1 and 2. I'm not sure if they'll even add bosses or Roadmasters from Mega Man 11. We'll have to see. Command Bomb. See, many of the weapons from Mega Man 10, maybe at least half of them, are kind of too situational. There are some which are awesome in general, like the Triple Blade, Wheel Cutter, the Water Shield, and one other weapon whose name escapes me right now. But the rest are just too situational or not that useful, like the Thunderbolt, the Rebound Striker, the Command Bomb, and one other weapon whose name escapes me as well. Maybe, it depends. Solar Blaze was awesome in general though. That's one of the 4 weapons I feel which were on the better side, or the good side. They do seem to choose bosses based off of teams. And that's why they picked an Explosive Roadmaster, because they're running low on them. We have 2 options at the stage now, the water level or the sky level. I'll first go through the water level, and then I'll go through the sky level. I don't know, we already have enough Explosive Roadmasters. I think they'll add Nitro Man first, before Commando Man. Commando Bomb was only really good against the Roadmaster, it was strong against and a few mini-bosses in certain situations. And it wasn't strong enough to justify how weak it was. I mean, it wasn't strong enough to justify its issues. Strike Man would be another nice candidate. You're right. He's an impact-based boss. We got a weakness, I think. Oh, that was optional too. Okay then. Grub Buster would be amazing, especially for stages where I don't get access to E or M tanks. It's amazing in Magmal 2, but it gets counterbalanced by the fact you get so many E and M tanks. That's why I didn't really use it much in my LP. It's very useful. I mean, it's one of the few weapons in the Mega Man series which has life drain built into it. I doubt we'll have Frostman anytime soon. We already passed Mega Man 8. Maybe Cold Man. Shield Man would also work too. Has there ever been a dessert-based Roadmaster? Yeah, there hasn't really been, only in fan games. And probably the comics. So this is the water part of Choose Water Sky stage. I have a love-hate relationship with water levels. It depends on how much spikes there are. That's a common trend between a lot of water levels. A lot of spikes. Overall, this was an okay to decent level. True, the game is kind of top-heavy from Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I'd like to see more bosses added from the later series. Yeah, those are fan-made bosses, so I don't exactly count them, but they're nice. Now I'm just gonna jump ahead and go to the sky part of this level. Oh yeah, Mega Arm. That would be fun to have too. I know it was kind of situational, but when it was upgraded, it was very fun to use. Hi there, Galaxy Man. Let's see, where does the stage split off? No, this was just an optional challenge for the Rain Flush. Okay, there's the split off point, I guess. So I'll just place Mega Man over here. And put the Gemini Laser here. Hi, Animegame. And your level will be out of Galaxy Man, but I already covered a level submitted by you, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to it on this stream. Not sure about that. Oops. I see the problem here. I see the problem here. I need the rain flush to cross, so I'm gonna have to do it the other way. I thought I could make it normally, but no. Because it counteracts the rain. But you do need to time it correctly. It is supremely powerful against it. I'm not really sure. I think it has 30 screens, but it has 2 split pathways to add to replayability. Sure, B-Money. I'll edit. Yeah, this level definitely has more than 20 screens. Even before the split-off point it has about 10 screens, and after the split-off point it has 15 screens each, I think. True, I wish we could have separate difficulties for the bosses Mega Man 10, but that had too much development time, I guess. I know the next level I'll be playing on the stream is going to be really subjective as to whether you like it or not. I already predict that half of the people in chat will not like that level. Looks pretty, if a bit too bright in the background. Probably Heavy Elite. If you watched any level made by Shaun Williams in the distant past or current or recently, you'll know what I mean. Kind of worried that was gonna happen. Don't destroy those enemies then. I gotta say this stage is on the prettier side. Do you know of Mecha's Mega Man Maker website, Heavy Elite? Just a curious question. Good, I love that website, especially its advanced search options. That's what I wish the search options in Mega Man Maker what Mega Man Maker could have. I mean, you can search based off of the max and lower score. Now, if only they can have a creator for a Wily Challenge mode. And it's done. This was a decent level at the very least. You mean the Magma Bazooka? The reason why it feels so overpowered is because of this engine's triple hit bug. Long story short, if you have a weapon that can fire multiple projectiles at once, and all of them hit an enemy or a boss at the same time, they'll all count the damage, not one of them. They won't trigger the boss's invulnerability frames individually. That's why it's so powerful. What have you... sorry. What Y Challenge really needs is more customizability. That's the main thing it's lacking. I mean, it has... I know it's trying to be like the 100-man Mario Maker mode, but... because there's no... the servers don't keep track of how difficult the levels are or the completion rates, it causes issues with determining how difficult the stages are. So it just feels like just a series of challenge levels, or just using the random option several times over and over, instead of it being in the same difficulty level. What the difficulty level does is basically just change number of lives and how long your series are, but I'd like some better customizability, like minimum and max scores, for example, or the ability to make playlists. Good, yeah. Kind of a shame because, as it stands right now, I feel Y Challenge mode is somewhat falling flat on its face. It really needs more support, and compared with some of the major additions like multiple characters and the most recent updates, multiple bosses, that major new feature doesn't really have the best longevity right now. It's too bare bones is what I'm saying. Even an endless mode would be fun to have. Forward up is Poison Ivey Level Hard 1.5 by Shaun Williams with 4 plays and a score of -2. And there's a particular reason why I got a negative score, and let's just say Shaun Williams levels are very highly, your mileage may vary, because almost all of them, or practically all of them, are damage boosting levels. And if you don't know where to damage boost specifically or very well, you'll die a lot. They do have some neat ideas, but the main issue is that they're really punishing, you could say. Somewhat punishing and less punishing at the same time. Oops. And one of the reasons why I wish there was an instant delay. Or there's an option to change how fast there was an option to stop when there was an option to turn off the delay, is what I'm saying. Because every time you pick up a pickup, it temporarily pauses you and can eat button inputs in this engine. At least I have infinite weapon energy. Going for the E-Tank is suicide, but I probably need the E-Tank, so... Again, instant pickups cause me to die. Or the temporary pause, I mean. That's one of the feature updates I would like. Turning off the delay. Seriously, and that jump is kind of a pain to do. This may take a few attempts. This is kind of the reason why, for Shaun Williams levels, I like to do it not on stream. So I can edit out most of the failures. True. The thing with Shaun Williams levels is that they also focus more on very specific types of damage boosting. At least these stages have pretty good checkpoint placement. When I say pretty good checkpoint placement, I mean extremely frequent. At least Mega Man Maker levels haven't reached the level of Mario Maker. If you know what I'm talking about Mario Maker, I mean there has been a much bigger abundance of challenge levels and Kaizo levels added in Mario Maker, as opposed to compared to like Mega Man Maker, so the minimum skill to enjoy most of the levels added to Mario Maker has been increased significantly over time. Much more compared to this game's inception. Sheesh, that was close. And this is one of Shaun Williams' easier levels, by the way. At least it feels easier. Yeah, I know. I'll eventually get to it, don't worry, after I post the video with Omegata's levels. Slide jumps like this are not my favorite. Maybe. I'm waiting to get attacked by a pop-up attacker somewhere. Oh no. I'd like to see some auto-scrolling levels, similar to some of the ones in Mario World. I'm surprised this stage is being on the really kinder side. Fortress bosses for 1.7 please. 1.6 is going to be on the simpler side according to the devs, so 1.7. What a good place to start for Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 2's Fortress bosses. They're on the simpler side, so... The Y Dino from... Was that from... Rockman World 2? Whoops. I see the problem. Touch the sides of the spikes. There's a red force beam there, so that's why I was really worried. Oh, Mega Man 6 Wily 1. Oh yeah, I remember that dino. I was thinking of the Wily Final Boss dino. No, I was thinking of the dinos at the end of Rockman World 2. There are dinos there as well. Well, it works. It's one of the few grass tiles in the engine, so of course it'd be popular. And I want to point out, the plant barrier was quite weak in Mega Man 6, but because you can spam it in this game, especially with infinite usage, and also because it regenerates your health over time, it's extremely handy. It turned it from one of the worst weapons in the game to now one of the best weapons. Oops, should have known. Yeah, Star Crash is now actually a useful weapon. I'm gonna have to damage boost here. Although some of the added effects make the weapon worse. For instance, see what happened to the needle cannon. Now it's worse than its Mega Man 3 counterpart. Of course, that could easily be fixed if the effect actually lasted, even if you swapped out of the form. Shademan, the main reason why his tile is so popular is because it's one of the only grass tiles in the game. We don't have Slashman's tile set. Well, we do actually, but... I know, right? It's one of the worst weapons... It's not one of the worst weapons in Mega Man Maker. The other worst weapons would probably be the Magnet Missile. Well, it's not really a bad weapon, it's just as outclassed by similar weapons like the Dive Missile and the Hornet Chaser. And the Sword Snake due to some of the glitchy behaviors. Oops, didn't see that. I'd love to have the Slash Claw added to the game. It was pretty fun to use. One of the only melee weapons in the Mega Man series. Again, I would emphasize that this is one of Shaun Williams' much easier stages. The one I covered during my anniversary took a lot longer to get used to, I'd say, and that felt tougher. This outside the first section is relatively straightforward. Especially because there's so many things to damage boost off of. I understand why this got a thumbs down. I totally understand why. There's quite a bit of damage boosting required, and if you don't understand how it works, you're gonna die a lot. Oh, that's the end of the level. I thought it went by a bit longer. Okay then. One of Shaun Williams' easier levels. This should be labeled Poison Ivy Level Medium. Not that I'm complaining, I like having easier levels every so often. I don't know if I would give it a negative score, but I understand why I got it. It's on the harder side. This turns into a Kaiser level if you don't understand how to damage boost correctly and what to damage boost off of. Oh yeah, Tengu Blade would be fun. That's the one for Mega Man base. Servo Tomahawk was... yeah, it was kind of one of the weaker weapons. In this engine it's a lot better because you can spam it more. And you can quick weapon switch, but otherwise it's... See, this is one of the weapons that really benefited from being just directly ported to this engine and the ability to just quick weapon swap. In that case, you can use it as a backup weapon. Fifth up is Space Travel 2 Part 5 Nifius Normal by Lipatio, with 17 plays and a score of 6. Magic Man especially. He has one of the few weapons that can actually lock on and grab and give you stuff to you, like a boomerang. In fact, that's one of the only boomerang weapons in the Mega Man franchise. I know the Shadow Blade also works kind of like a boomerang, but the Magic Card especially. One moment please, I need to double check if I missed something. Scorch Wheel was kind of it was an underpowered fire-based weapon in Mega Man 7. The Junk Shield and Slash Claw were much better. Again, there were some places where you could use it properly. It's not as bad as some of the worst It's not as bad as the worst weapons from Mega Man 10, that's for sure. It was actually usable. First man, yep. Junk Shield was one of the best weapons in Mega Man 7. Next up would probably, for me, the favorite one would be also with the Slash Claw. It just had so much durability and the fact you could fire out whenever necessary. Plus, it had an on-screen indicator of how much damage it was taking. You mean the Thunderbolt? Probably not. I'd like some other weapons first. More unique weapons. The Thunderbolt was kind of more of the bog standard electric-based weapons. Nitro Wheel? Do you mean the Wheel Cutter Heavy Elite? Yeah, I'd like the Wheel Cutter. Okay, yeah, Wheel Cutter is amazing as a utility-based weapon, even as a combat-based weapon because you can use it as a chainsaw. I loved it in Magmo 2, so that's one of my top picks for weapons in Mega Man 10. For stuff added in Mega Man 10. Command Bomb needs some buffs. A straight damage buff would work wonders too, but maybe another buff would be handy. And this stage pretty well showcases how to use the Danger Wrap. The Danger Wrap was a fun, albeit very underutilized weapon in Mega Man 7. See, in particular situations, it's very handy to use. I knew that was gonna happen once. Yeah, the Water Shield. Water Shield was one of the best weapons in Mega Man 10, although that's not really saying much. Most of the weapons there are kind of underpowered, outside of a select few like the Nitro Wheel. I mean Wheel Cutter. Strike Ball did have... The thing with the Strike Ball is that as it bounces around the place and gets faster, it gets stronger. Unfortunately, there are not that many places to properly use it. We didn't really have any stages like Fuse Man's in Mega Man 10. If you were to pick 2 or 3 bosses which are going to be added to Mega Man 10, well, outside of Sheepman, which ones do you pick? Mega Man... Rockman World V and 4, we'll get to that eventually. Oh, we gotta be careful here so we don't accidentally destroy the ground or stuff above us. Or at least that's what we're supposed to do, but that was very straightforward. Probably is a special weapon. We already have stuff like the Perfect Freeze, after all. Oh no. Oh, I see. I have to use those as shields, or barriers. Not quite fast enough. More stuff like the Charge Kick. That'd be fun. You can already chain together the Charge Kick, Top Spin, and other weapons. I guess I have to jump more there. You can already do a quadruple jump in this engine. I doubt we'll have fan game... Oh, oops. I doubt we'll have fan game stuff added. I figured that out, it's jumping. I thought I need to kill off that that heart at first, but... I'm not sure what happened there. The Comet Dash, and from Impact Man, the Pile Driver, that's what it was called. The Pile Driver was really fun. I'm missing something. I probably need a damage boost, that's what I'm missing. There we go. Tango Bleed. Danger Wrap is bold, I'd say. They'll do 1 in 10 Mega Man and Base, and following that they'll probably do the Mega Man World Series, then the Wily Wars, then probably Rockman and Forte 2, and probably some of that. And now this is pretty easy. So that was the end of part 5. Fairly simple level, but enjoyable. I think another Roadmaster in Mega Man 11 in Japanese had a different name as well. I think it was Bounce Man. His name there was Rubber Man. Water Wave is a true water-based weapon. Yep. And unlike some of the previous series, it had an overall very good difficulty arc. Some of the previous levels had more inconsistent difficulty curves. Alright, I'll be right back in a moment. Sixth up is Gear Fortress 2 by B-Money, with 87 plays and a score of 30. I can already foresee how they're gonna remake the section with being chased by those gears. One comment about the Gear Fortress in Mega Man 11, it really needed one more fortress stage in between. There should have been at least a 3 or 4 before it hatches room. It felt kind of like a compressed version. I'll eventually get to Space Travel 3, let's finish Space Travel 2 first. The Maw of the Beast. Get ready to get chased. In the original we had to destroy these blocks as quickly as possible. Starts off easy and not chased by anything. For a moment there I thought there was an invisible spike. The Roadmaster stages felt like they had a nice length to them. But the Fortress level should have been at least 1 or 2 more. I don't exactly like to do direct— okay, here's the Wall of Death. And immediately I destroyed it, so not really accurate, so let's try this again. Let me do a quick check just to make sure stream is working. Good. I don't usually like to do direct comparisons in terms of screen count between the Mega Man 11 levels and all the other classic levels because of the different aspect ratios. NES/SNES aspect ratios versus the aspect ratios in the 16:9. I do like the increased viewing range, it opens up a whole new realm of possibilities, but because of it, it also makes it a bit hard to do direct comparisons. Because Mega Man now takes longer for him to complete one screen. Just wanted to make sure, there was one stream about a month ago where things started to go horribly wrong and I didn't exactly notice. In my humble opinion, I think they're already making Mega Man X9 secretly. Or the Mega Man Battle Network collection. And eventually we'll get Mega Man 12. Mega Man 11 was a nice breath of fresh air to the franchise, and a nice return to form, especially in comparison to Mega Man 10. And thank goodness, I said this before and I'll say it again, they didn't reuse the 8-bit classic style. I like it sure, but from the Capcom themselves, I want some more variety. And they pulled it off very well. That style, although being 3D, 2.5D, still feels very faithful. And Power Gear and Speed Gear were fun to play in the Mega Man 11. I don't know. See, there's something else I've noted. I'm not sure if you noticed this, but it seems that until Mega Man 11 was released, you could divide the series, at least the classic mainline series on NES, SNES, PS1, you could divide them into eras based off of 3 games. There is the first era, which primarily involved Dr. Light and Wily, which is 1, 2, and 3. Then we had the new foes, 4, 5, and 6, with Kozak, Proto Man, and X. Then we had the new allies and new different types of enemies, with 7, 8, and Base. Then we had the new retro era, with 9 and 10. But then we kind of broke the cycle because then we had Mega Man... But then we kind of broke the cycle because we had Mega Man 11. I probably need them here. This is where I could use the speed gear, but I don't exactly use the time slow because it doesn't work the same way. I can't just shift out of it any time. Oh. I thought we need to keep them here and destroy the wall that way. That'd be an easy way to fix the issues of just destroying them. Mega Man 11 was really a return to form, and honestly, a large improvement over kind of repetitiveness that was happening over the series. Maybe not repetitiveness, but things starting to feel a bit stale. The same issue happened with Mega Man 5 and 6 on the NES, and I'm glad they actually picked a different style other than the tried and true 8-bit style used in the games and fan games. Although to be quite honest, in the future, I want Capcom to hire some of the fan game developers and create something like a Mega Man Mania, similar to Sonic Mania. It was thanks to the efforts of many Mega Man fan game developers that the fan game community of Mega Man has really grown in scope and size. I consider it to be like a B-tier one. The A-tier ones being the Sonic and Mario fandoms or fan game communities. Yeah, I'd like to see her playable. I want the entire Rock family to be playable. Yeah, I'd like to see a Wily Wars for 4, 5, and 6. Maybe some ideas for remaking those games. Seven is it is controversial in the fandom, but I quite enjoyed it. I like how it changed up the formula a bit by going to 16-bit graphics after 6 or 7 games on NES, well 6 games, also counting the Game Boy, while still taking the ideas from NES and combining them with the Game Boy titles. I just wish that the game wasn't as slowed down as it was, and the screen real estate was larger because, unlike the NES titles, you had much less space to move around with, but it was much closer to how the Game Boy titles did it. It did its screen real estate. So Sparkman standing in for Mavern, or Mayvern, however you pronounce that boss's name. And it's over. Pretty fun redux of Gear Fortress 2, but there are some ways it could be done a bit better. Oh yeah, I made a mistake. It's not B-Money. The previous level creator was actually Gravity Beetle. Sorry. I got your names mixed up. I already covered this level, T-Money. Let me double check when I covered your level. If Google, okay. I already covered this level back in episode 294. So I'll remove it from the list. Alright, because no one else has anything on the list, I'm moving on to Galaxy Man's next stage that they submitted. Splash Woman stage by Neo the Edge 2, with 30 plays and a score of 9. Not yet. Do you want me to cover it after this one? I'll be happy to do so. Command system. Okay, adding it. I probably won't be able to get to your level, Shaun, so I'll add it to the list for the next stream. Okay, this level is much bigger than what I expected. Let's take a quick look-see. Oh wow, this remix of Splash Woman stage is 53 screens long, and it has 9 checkpoints and 2 bosses. So we're in for a bit of a longer haul. This stage is also slightly laggy. You probably should have fixed the background there. And we only have access to weaponry from Mega Man 9. Nice touch. Or replacements for stuff we don't exactly have. Like we have the Sword Snake replacing the Plug Ball. I'm not sure if we will be able to get to your stage, Heavy Elite. It's getting a bit close to the end time of the stream. I'm hoping to finish it off in about 20 or 25 minutes or so. Now we're taking inspiration from Bubbleman's level. It's alright. And tomorrow I won't be streaming this game. I'll be streaming something a bit different. If there's one thing to note, I will eventually cover all the levels that are submitted to my playlist. And Retro Redux will eventually be finished in 3 or so weeks. I think there are only 20-30 levels left. Splash Bubble is another way to put this level. A replacement for the Lanternfish boss. Oh, hello to Leonardo. I'm in the last 20 minutes of the stream. The dropping crabs. I'll dedicate 3 episodes to your series of levels or fan game. As I said, it'll be covered after Omega's levels are done. That part is already recorded, I just need to edit it. Long story short, as a hint to what I think about those Omega's levels, I didn't really like them. They essentially have the same issues as QueenMonika's levels for the most part, with the added problem of being confused of where you're supposed to go to next. What? Hold on, let me double check. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a moment, I see what I missed here. See, this stage was much shorter than 53 screens because there was a split pathway. I should have known. See, it's not really a mistake, this stage actually has alternate pathways, but it wasn't mentioned to me. So that's why I was wondering, why did I finish the stage so early? So now I'll cover the second route. I usually do update the level IDs twice a week, but sometimes more. Usually I try doing all of them just before I do a live stream. It isn't really a shortcut, it's more like the alternate route entirely. See, if you go down here, you die. Let's pretend that didn't happen. I keep falling for the same trap over and over. And is it just me, or today I already went through 3 remixes of Splash Woman's stage team, each of which are relatively faithful to the level design? Also, why aren't there any enemies here? Seriously, this room feels rather empty. What's with the lack of enemies? Something feels off. That's true, but this stage really needs more enemies. It feels like the level designer forgot to add enemies here, and the background. Alright, here are some enemies. The Bubble Man route felt like a fateful remix, but this one, at least for half, it feels rather empty and missing stuff. True, nice way of distinguishing it, thanks to the new water added in the recent update. And it's done. This stage, I sort of found it passable with the bubble route, but this route just feels rushed and it's missing enemies. It feels incomplete. Yeah, Mega Man feels like it's going through a vacation in Splash Woman's route. In essence, I feel like this stage is not fully finished. Yeah, it feels half-baked. Bubble route was fine, this route is not so fine. I can see why this stage got a positive score because of the bubble route, but rest, I can't really give it. 8 up is Command System by Animegame with 6 plays and a score of -1. Let's see here. This stage has 32 screens, 57 enemies, 45 spikes, 2 refillers, and 6 checkpoints, and only 1 boss. Yeah, it had some promise, but quickly didn't deliver. Not exactly sure where I'm going, but guess I go left. How did I figure out about the stage so fast? I used Mecha's website to quickly look at how many screens, enemies, and other stuff the level has. It's an amazing resource. It's so good it actually loads up the level faster than the game can load up the level. It does feel like a first level of sorts because there's not really any variation in the aesthetics, for example. I like the combination, but it needs to be more varied up. And if you fall down here, I think you're stuck if you don't get this already. Or first month, really depends. Trial and error section. Yeah, this is trial and error. Because I don't have stuff like the treble boost. Not Spike Pit, but Spike Fall. It's gonna take a few attempts to do this properly. I have 10 minutes to spare, so let's go for it. Too much to the right. I'm pretty sure you can already tell what my opinions on this level is. Again, too close to the right. I keep overestimating. So we can get 2 different tornado blows, that's why. Not sure why we need both of them, but the thought counts. This time, I still move too much to the right. Yeah, this stage already is below par and messy and unfocused. Definitely feels like a first level. Okay, that's how you're supposed to do it. It's actually very straightforward once you know what you're doing. It's simple once you know what you're supposed to be doing, though. Ah, there's Turbo Boost. I would have liked it earlier, but okay. Tanks for the tree, tanks. Oh, that's how we get out of here. And how I screw up the jump. Now there are See, there are ways to make interesting spike falls, but these are the simplest and not really interesting. You could have used jar blocks or various other types of gimmicks. But no, it's just that. Time to do this in reverse, I guess. The other issue is that the stage feels super expansive. When I say super expansive, I mean in the sense that it's not really going for any set of challenges outside of the Spike Pit one. So now I go back up there. But remember, if you don't have access to the... well, the only way you can get here is if you have access to the Mega Ball, so fine with me then, you can't get soft locked. No criteria, it's completely random actually. The Wally challenge is strings together a series of random levels together, that's all. There's no criteria whatsoever for it to get on. Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing I've noticed, and usually what happens is that they're not the interesting kind of spike pits or elevator sections. They're kind of on the boring, overly played ones. Because there are ways to make interesting spike fall sections, like add gyro blocks or add other gimmicks. Alright, this stage is over then. I guess here's week... is it over? It's over. Yeah, that'll spice things up. If you use them in a spikefall section, that already makes it more interesting, or even an elevator section. As it stands right now, I didn't really like this stage. It was unfocused, and as you saw, the difficulty progression was really inconsistent. And, like, for example, the spikefall section, I like there's a checkpoint at the beginning, but it doesn't really feel like the best designed. But you get better at it over time as you make more and more levels. I suggest you start with a smaller level and work your way upwards. With a traditional fortress stage about 20-25 screens long, and then expand on from there. And try condensing your challenges to force yourself to actually create interesting gimmicks. Yeah, that's an example for one to make an interesting Spikefall section. I want to emphasize I don't hate Spikefall sections, I just find the traditional one without any other gimmick combined boring. So let me do one last check. Alright, I'm kind of running out of time, so I'll have to end off the stream right now. In total on the stream, I covered 8 levels. And my favorite one would be... I'm not exactly sure what my favorite one would be. I'll have to choose it in post. It's probably one of the Splash Woman levels, or Croby's level. Probably Cage's Splash Woman level would be my favorite. Before I leave, don't... Yeah, do 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever. But work your way up from there. And start with a limited set of enemies while doing so. Like, don't go crazy with 10 or 20 types of enemies and gimmicks. There is a cap, but I'm not sure. It's probably around 200-300 screens. Although, even if you get to that point, the editor starts lagging crazy. Alright, before I leave, I'd like to make an announcement. Tomorrow, I'll be playing Make a Good Mega Man Level Contest Remastered at 12 p.m. PDT, 3 p.m. EDT, or 7 p.m. UTC. So yeah, it's basically a redux of the original, but they fixed the engine, the hub worlds, etc, etc. It'll be in for fun going through some of the older levels while having much better controls and whatnot. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!